What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, the game plan is burnout. That's all we're trying to do is a burnout. Our axles are here. Our clutch we built and installed a long time ago, so now we just got to make sure it works, our whole clutch system. If those two things work, I believe we will be doing a burnout by the end of the day. That is the game plan. Stay tuned. Before we get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by the mobile game Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is epic, dark, realistic fantasy done right. There are hundreds of different champions to collect and there are 0 cartoons. It's a collection RPG style game that's really taken the mobile landscape by storm, with more than 10 million players worldwide that have already downloaded the game in the last 6 months. And the best thing is it's free to play. I really like that you can play to your own play style, so you can focus on the types of things that you want to do. If you want to collect champions, if you like PvP, I love PvP. If you want to build a clan, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. There's orcs and undead and knights and elves and a lot more, and it's got a fully voiced out story campaign as well. Check out the amazing graphics and details on these champions. And in Raid you have the ability to personalize and customize and choose the artifacts and design a unique mastery build for each one of them. Personally, I really like this game. I love the support that they've given the channel and I have a really fun time playing it as well. But don't take my word for it. If you go onto the Google Play Store, you'll see over 300,000 reviews of the game with almost a perfect score. The game is growing really fast, guys, and the new highly anticipated Faction Wars feature is now live. And there's some new awesome rewards program for new players, and you can get a new daily login reward for the first 90 days in the game. So guys, you got nothing to lose. Go check out the link in the description. If you use my link down below in the description, you're gonna get started with 50,000 silver and a free epic hero champion. They'll get you started a little bit faster as part of the new player program. So make sure to use my link in the description below. Go click it now, download the game, you'll have some fun. All right, let's get down to work. I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is kind of kicking off our, we're trying to make them a little bit shorter so we can get you guys up to date with where we're at and put out episodes a little bit faster. So normally we work 4 days, put out 1 episode. Now we're basically going to be probably working 1 day, maybe 2 days, and then put out an episode. So eventually we can get close to having an episode come out every single day before SEMA, so you guys can be like right with us on the build and everything like that. So that is the game plan, and I should stop talking and get to work. I'm going to be getting started on the axles, and Oscar is going to be getting started on what we're calling the rear scaffolding, and I'll explain that in a second. So let's first talk about our axles. Driveshaft Shop sponsored us for this build. One really important thing on this build was I was building everything for high power. We needed custom axles already that go from a Gallardo transmission to a Huracan wheel spline, and we needed the right lengths and everything, but also I wanted these to be able to handle everything that the car could throw at it. So these are high performance, basically the best you can build in the world right now. These should withstand all the horsepower that we can put at it, 1500 horsepower range. And the point of failure, from what I've heard, is the splines on the Huracan. These aren't really deep splines, and they may rip themselves out of the hub, which is no fault of the axle. So basically what we did was we talked with Driveshaft Shop. We sent out our Gallardo CVs. So these are off of the Gallardo axles that we had. They look so clean. They might have been replaced, or maybe they just machined them down for us. I'm not really sure. And these are off of our burnt Huracan axles that you saw me weld up earlier. We sent all this stuff out. They rebuilt it with the highest quality stuff and sent them back. I want to say thank you guys so much. They made sure that they got done in time for the SEMA deadline and sponsored them for us. So thanks to Driveshaft Shop, guys. There's going to be a link in the description. So one of those is right, one of those is left. I doubt I can find all the hardware for it, but I'm going to start looking around and getting that figured out so I can get the axles in. Alright, I got one axle kind of in there. We had to make a run to the bolt store, so I'm going to finalize those right now. While I'm doing that, Oscar and I are going to be working on building what we're calling the rear scaffolding. So it's mostly for looks. It also kind of doubles as a rear impact bar and a diffuser holder. I'll show you what it looks like in the rendering here, kind of in 3D, and the look that we're going for. So to do that, we got to cut the bumper right about there. Right about there, so that's going to happen, and then we're going to be, building stuff into this area right here as well. So Oscar and I are going to start kind of planning that out, designing how that's going to look, and making moves. happened fast. That escalated quickly. We made the cut. It actually went really, really well, and I really liked the look and how it came by. We just followed the rendering, you know, but damn, this is gonna be aggressive. This looks really good. So now Oscar's got all the space for activities, and I can finish installing our axles. Oscar got his first piece of aluminum cut and tacked together. So we found out in the rendering that it basically follows the body line. So you can see how well this follows that line up there. And if we bring it down here, it's very, very, very close as well, which is great. So that's actually going to land itself more in here range. But he's off to a great start. While that was going down, I got our axles installed. So you can see our axles are in down there. That is sweet. I'm stoked about that. We found out that the wheel bearings really tighten up and operate exactly like you'd expect once you put the shaft in there and then screw that bolt in and kind of sandwich the whole thing together like we showed you in the last episode on the front. So I did that. Our wheel bearing is fine. If we need to replace it later on, we don't have a press in our shop, but ETS said we could borrow their press. We got 2 new ones if we need them for drag racing later on. But this car only has 3,000 miles, so it really should be totally fine. So now that we know that that's good, I'm going to go ahead and install the rotor, the caliper, and you're going to be seeing us running the stock Huracan wheels for the next little bit because we don't have our wide body kit. Well, the wide body kit's actually done, but we don't have it on the car, and we don't have our wheels, which are like the last piece of the puzzle, but our sponsor ran into a few difficulties, so we're waiting for those wheels, eagerly waiting for those wheels. Hopefully we'll have them next week. So you'll see us on the stock Huracan wheels without spacers for the next while. Oscar's got the first downshoots from the main back bar kind of going down to that point right there, which is some factory mounting point for the frame already. That's coming along great. We only have an hour till sundown, so if we want to try and rip this burnout, we got to really hope things come together quickly. So I'm going to get all the wheels on, fluid in the clutch, and get a seat inside the car. Problem. We were so close. So I was filling up the clutch system. We got to the point where it was pressurized, and then we found out that our line had some holes in it, and started spraying fluid everywhere. It's late at night, and we can't buy a new line till tomorrow, so no burnout tonight. But Oscar's doing cool stuff. Back to the action. Hi guys, it's a new day and the car looks a lot more complete than normal. I'm still really trying to get a burnout for you guys, but from the game plan of this being like a 1-day episode, might be closer to like a 5-dayer. Stuff happens. So the car is at maximum togetherness right now because it has to go off to the body shop. Originally, we had planned on building a carbon fiber recreation of this roof right here and then applying it to this car. Didn't actually work out that well. We had problems finding a suitable candidate for a roof to copy, but then once we also started looking into the way that the roof was designed, there was a lot of stuff that kind of wraps all the way around, and when something wraps all the way around, you can't really make a mold of it and pop it out of the mold because the mold wraps too far around. You can't pop it vertically out of it. So it looked that, and knowing that it includes the A-pillar all the way down here. This is a really unique roof because the A-pillar is a part of the roof. There is no separation line. Normally a roof panel is just a square kind of thing. It started looking like something that was just not really possible. And especially because, you know, we're pretty beginners on the carbon fiber world. We just really didn't want to waste half a month doing that. So then we moved on to, okay, let's just repair our roof. Is it repairable? We hit it with a hammer a bunch of times and it was starting to like get back to the shape that it looked like it needed to be in. But that was something I wanted to leave to the hands of a professional, so we didn't have problems with, you know, body filler or fiberglass or new stuff like delaminating and popping back off and whatnot. So the car is heading down to VersionEx Auto Body down in Eugene. That's about a 2-hour drive away from us. Like I said, they're gonna have it for about 4 days. They're gonna work on the roof and touching up any of the other body panels that they can, and also removing all of this vinyl for us as well. So it's gonna be a huge help over the next few days while we focus on other stuff back here in the shop, like for instance, building carbon fiber doors and other stuff like that. You guys may remember those guys because they were the same people that painted my green Lamborghini, and they did a fantastic job on the paint job on that green Lamborghini. So I 100% have faith in them to bust out this roof for us. So we got to get it loaded up onto the trailer and get out of here. Alright guys, so it's the next day. We, you know, obviously assembled the car, loaded it up onto the trailer, and then Kyle drove it down to VersionEx Auto yesterday. So they've had it for like kind of about a half of a day to kind of look it over, see what needs to be done. And I just got here and I'm eager to check it out. So let's see how it looks. Oh, also I drove the Aston here. I don't know if any of you guys care about an update for this car, but it's still doing awesome. I love this thing. It's my favorite highway driving car. We're gonna get rid of the wing eventually, but I love it. So they've gotten to work already on the roof, stripping all the paint and all the burnt off stuff off of it, coming down all the way into the crease right here, and we talked about strategy. The other thing that they're gonna be doing while it's here is helping us take off a lot of this vinyl wrap. They kind of have a lot better tools and stuff like that to do it. It's also a pain in the ass, so I don't want to spend time doing it. So they're gonna help kind of get all the body wrap off of all these body panels so we're ready to go when they come back to the shop. So it's gonna look a lot different. I believe it's black underneath here, carbon fiber underneath here. It's gonna really change the look of the car. All right, guys, it's really early Thursday morning. The car is done. We're here to grab it so we can get a full day of work in. Let's go check it out. So right off the bat, you guys can see that the car is a different color because we got all of our Polish DG3 racing wrap off. Looks fantastic. You can actually see the kind of some of the carbon that's back here on the carbon bumper. And the guys are doing, you know, doing all the work of just kind of buttoning it back up. But let's take a look at the work that they did on the roof. So this was like very, very, very tedious. Long nights, I'm sure, Devin?
Long nights.
Long nights. So is it fiberglass and body filler or just body filler?
So it's Duraglass, body filler, glazing putty, and then primer.
Okay, yeah. So a little bit of glass, body filler, yeah. So all the good things, and well, it looks like a stock roof. It looks fantastic. Once you guys, you know, this has got primer on it right now, so it's not exactly bouncing the light, but once we get a good wrap on here, you guys will see how good it looks. I'm so happy about that. That was just like, you know, one of these things where it didn't feel like we could even start thinking about finishing the build until we got this dealt with. So these guys just did an awesome job. And then we got this all peeled back and that peeled back, and we're not using that fender, so that's not peeled back either. But now we're definitely on the home stretch. So huge shout out to VersionEx. You guys, I mentioned before, they do amazing body work. They do paint, they do wraps, they do ceramic protection, they do all sorts of good stuff. And they're out here in Eugene, Oregon, and they're really great guys. So I'm gonna put a link in the description. I just want to thank them so much for jumping on this project and getting it done in our very tight time frame. They really saved us here. All right, we got her all loaded up. Oh my God, this is when it sets in. We've got 8 days left to build this thing into a car. Oh, it's gonna be fun. All right, she's home. We got her off the back of the truck. First time on the street because that's where we put it. It looks phenomenal outside in the daylight and everything. We want to do a burnout. That's what we want to try to do. I want to make sure that it goes into first gear, second gear, goes in reverse, all that good stuff. And I want to try and do a burnout. That way we can see if we're going to smoke our exhaust manifolds or not. I just want to see what happens, man. It's time to know more about this car. So to do that, we got to fix our clutch line. I went and got a new clutch line. We're going to go ahead and jack. We're using a soft clutch line. So anyways, we'll just jack the car up, run into there. We got to attach it in the front here, run to the back, attach it in the back, bleed it, and then we should be good to go. All right, guys, we are losing daylight, but we got everything installed. We got our new clutch line run, clutch system bled. It all feels really good. We're not 100% sure about the burnout. I have a feeling the car is just gonna launch forward, but we're gonna try our best. But first, what we're gonna do is we are going to go ahead and start the car, throw it into first gear. We'll see these back wheels move, and then we'll apply the brake a little bit. That's gonna build a lot of resistance on the engine, and we will be able to run it at load. Oh, also, since we do not have wastegates installed quite yet, we won't be able to limit our boost, so we're just going to go ahead and take off our charge pipes. Alright, so what we learned there, guys, is that our brakes are working, our clutch is working, and they did get a little warm, they got a little red, but they went back down. They did kind of what you would expect. I just revved it right up to 3,000 and basically slammed on the brakes as hard as I could, and then tried to keep driving through it and try to keep the RPMs as high as I could, and that will definitely generate a good amount of load on the car. But so now we're gonna get our water pumps on. Now the engine's up to temp, we're gonna get our water pumps on, and I think I'm gonna try and take this thing for a drive. Well, that was kind of a strange one. Being Beast for Build, you know, if we do a burnout, it's more like a quick skid, but I'm not surprised. So we had no brake booster. We're not running the vacuum line from the engine to our brake booster, so our brakes were super sketchy. I really didn't want to run over Kyle, who was holding the camera, and I had no power steering, so I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of control, but we did bounce it off the rev limiter. We lowered the rev limiter to something really low, I can't remember. Hit it off the rev limiter, got some flames, which is really cool, and that was fun, and it drove under its own, you know, weight. And by the way, the manufacturer of this clutch, HCF, they said that it was going to be a really hard to drive clutch. That thing was not that hard at all. I didn't even have a chair. I was sitting on the floor, and it felt fine. So that was a lot better clutch feel than I expected. So the big thing that we were doing there is we were measuring, make sure our exhaust manifolds didn't move on us, and they did not. So that was a really good takeaway. And in our next episode, our wheels from Rotiform are in. These things are insane. 14 inches wide in the back, 10 inches wide in the front. It's gonna look insane. We're gonna test fit them all up tomorrow. All right, you guys, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. For us right now, today is 8 days of working left. Today is basically over, so we got 7 more days of working on this car until SEMA. Fingers crossed. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe so you don't miss day 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, -1, and -2. See you guys then. Peace!
Come on.